Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today with a get ready with me. I thought I need to take a break from editing, otherwise I'm going to get like bloodshot eyes and a headache. I've been editing beauty news for around 2 hours now and I am probably maybe 2/5 of the way through. So I've got plenty to go this afternoon. I've probably got a good another 3 hours to go, but I thought I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna do my makeup, and I thought I will sit down and have a chat with you guys and do my makeup sort of the way I've been doing it recently, which is really kind of minimal, using my one month one palette and using my Project Pan products as well mainly. But I thought to keep it a little bit interesting, I would ask people some questions so I can kind of chat through it. So instead of it just being like a really choppy sort of me putting on makeup, I can chat my way through it. I've got no lights. I don't care. It's just quick and easy. So we're just doing a chilled sort of video. And I got a lot more questions than I was expecting to. So yeah, that's a thing. I thought before I start, I might answer some of the quick ones really quickly, because a lot of questions were about work and were about YouTube, and I think they're the kind of things that I can sit down and kind of like do my makeup to while I'm just like talking about it. So anyway, Chelsea on Facebook asked, any hairstyles you fall back on in the hot weather? Yeah, just how I do my top bun thing is I make a ponytail. So I have a ponytail. And sometimes if I have a ponytail out and it gets in the way, I'll just turn it into a bun. But I've got a ponytail, so that's how I start. And then I just twist it around like that and then tuck it in one of the hair, like one of the loops. That's how I do my hair bun. And that's pretty much how I do my hair all the time, because I hate the feeling of hair on my neck. It just feels really hot. Also, I found out I've got really like non-porous hair, which means it takes forever to dry, and whenever you put product in it, it kind of just like, it doesn't absorb into the hair. It just sort of sits on the outside and makes it really greasy. So my hair has a tendency to go from clean to greasy and like ick feeling and flat really, really quickly. So yeah, I always tend to just default to that. So that's the answer to that question. Okay, Alicia, who is fab. Alicia, I follow her on Instagram. She's got the most gorgeous big eyes. When I first saw her photos, I thought that she had a filter on. She doesn't. She's just gorgeous. She said, what makeup is in your handbag currently? I feel like only my favorites get the honor of being in my handbag. Now, I actually prepared for this. I got 2 handbags at the moment. I bought a new handbag recently, and because it's sort of like really stiff and kind of like bright, I kind of only bring that when I'm like going out. Not just to the shops. So this is a handbag that I bought myself a few weeks ago. So it was on sale. Very happy. So this is the handbag, and in it I do have a little makeup bag. But this is sort of stuff that it's not really staples. It's more like an eyeliner, a brow pencil, a concealer, and stuff like that. So if I have like a emergency, like a mini mascara, things that I don't really care about as like backups, and if I have an emergency where I have rubbed my brow off, there's that. But I don't really reach that often. I actually never really use that bag. And in this bag there are a couple of lip products. And I think lip products show you what I've been sort of wearing, because that's what I tend to rotate in my bag a lot. Whenever I go out and I've got a lip product on, I tend to put the product in my bag. So at the moment I've got a Colourpop lippy stick in Ziggy, which is just like a brownie kind of nude. So there's that in there. I've got a little Hourglass tinted lipstick balm thing that I got in a Beauty Loop box, which is a really, really beautiful sort of like, you know, really comfortable nude lipstick. And then I also have a Rimmel Call Me Crazy. This is the only one lipstick. It's a really bright red. I love these. I sort of rediscovered them when I was talking about my hatred for the matte ones. And I've got a NYX liner to go with that as well. Then the bag that I sort of bring around with me everywhere is this one here. I just bought this to take to Japan with me, and it's sort of become my like just going to the shops, catching up with a friend for a coffee sort of bag. So in this is probably more, shows you more about what I bring on a daily basis. Got an Australis Fresh and Flawless powder. This lid has broken, so I might actually have to take that out, which is a shame. I've got a Bioderma hand cream, I've got some of my favorite lip products of last month. So that matte lip product from Pixi, this is in matte beige, and that ultra glossy lip from Colourpop. And then, like, we can see that there's a theme. I've got another one of these, Rimmel The Only One. This is in Pink Punch, which is like a bright pink. I love these, they're so good. And I've got an EOS lip balm as well. So that's what I've got in my little bag. In my going out bag, I also have a CK2 fragrance, my favorite fragrance, and I love this. So if I ever like am feeling like I need to like have a refresh, I love this perfume. Another quick one, Janine on Facebook asked, have you got your Halo Beauty vitamins yet? Yes, I got them. These were delivered last week, but Haley came over and gave them to me yesterday, so this is the second day of taking them. So am I beautiful yet? Am I? That also leads on to the fact that Tati started following Beauty News, which was bizarre. That was a weird thing to find out. So, weird. Okay, I reckon to start off this, there's a bunch of questions about YouTube and my job and how YouTube fits with my job and all that kind of stuff. So I might read out some of these questions and then I'll just use that as sort of like the starting point of doing my makeup. So Catherine said, I'd love to know more of the practical / everyday stuff behind doing YouTube as a job. Do you make set schedules to work or just do things day by day? Obviously with Beauty News and your own channel, you can tell you love what you do, but is it hard to do something creative pretty much full time? So I'm gonna remember that. We had Amelia say, do you see yourself making videos in the future? Do you think you'll get tired of it? Would you like YouTube to be a career? She asked heaps more questions as well, but I'll kind of talk about the career one first. We also had Aussie Beauty Talk, so Mel, she asked a few questions. Hi Mel. So she said, can you talk about where you think Beauty News channel is headed business-wise? So a lot of people are asking about jobs, asking about YouTube as a career. So, you know, there's a lot going on there. Elizabeth said, at what point did you decide to leave the corporate / legal life and commit more to Beauty News / YouTube? Would you ever go back to corporate / legal world? That Emma Weirdo said, what is it like to work both as a lawyer and a full-time YouTuber? Have you ever thought about doing this full-time and leaving your job? There was another person asking if I had a job outside of YouTube. So there's a lot of questions asking about YouTube, jobs, where it's going, what's happening, all that kind of stuff. But I'll start by actually putting makeup on my face, and as we're sort of going, what I'll do is I'll start talking about it. I'm going to just tell you what I'm using. I'm using Project Pan stuff at the moment, so I'm going to use my Makeup Forever Step 1 mattifying primer. I'm going to use that in the T-zone. My L'Oreal Glam Beige I'm panning as well. So I've sort of been mixing it with this Lancome foundation. This is the, I think it's an Ultra Wear, and it's 24-hour wear comfort SPF 15. And my shade is 025. So I'm just going to mix those together. I'll do that and we'll start chatting. So a lot of people, you know, want to know if YouTube is my full-time thing. If you don't know, I do have a second channel as well, which is a bigger channel to this channel. So you might be going, how the hell do you have, like, you know, how do you do YouTube so much and sort of not quit your job over it, but have it as a part-time job if you've only got like 20,000 subscribers. But yeah, Beauty News is a much bigger channel, and we do have consistent uploads, and we upload at the same time, have a proper schedule, and we always try to meet those deadlines. So this channel for me is sort of just like my hobby version away from my YouTube job. It sounds weird. I see them both as sort of hobbies, and I see them both as sort of jobs. So it's a bit, but this channel is more lenient. I kind of just sit down and chat about crap, and I try to upload 2 times a week, but I don't have really scheduled times, etc, etc. Beauty News, we're a lot more scheduled and like forward thinking when it comes to Beauty News. So yeah, I was working as a full-time lawyer, mainly doing sort of property work and also like wills and estates and commercial leasing and a few things like that. I was doing that for about 2.5 years, and I found it really boring, and to be honest, like the people were lovely at work and I kind of, you know, wanted to sort of stick around because of the people, but I hate doing the same thing day in, day out. It's just drives me bananas. I just get really bored and I just feel like I'm in Groundhog Day and what's the point, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And the law that I was doing, it wasn't like, there were times where it was quite like urgent and like kind of stressful, but it wasn't like super exciting law where you're always in court or anything like that. So it was pretty standard, and yeah, I didn't want to be in it forever. And to be honest, when I actually started studying law, I actually wanted to do legal research. So when I became a lawyer, they actually had a really big sort of job freeze when it came to government jobs, because there were a lot of budget cuts and stuff happening at the time that I graduated. So there weren't many jobs going, and pretty much the only jobs that were available were private practice jobs. So unless I wanted to stick with my old casual admin position, I had to kind of just get a job where I could. So I did, yeah, get a job as a lawyer, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. I'd come from psychology, and I did a psych honours, so I was into research and stats and all that kind of stuff, but I was also into law reform and loved the idea of like, you know, working with the community and trying to change rules for the better and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I wanted to get into, but just when I finished, I couldn't. So I took a job that was a decent job, lovely people, but was kind of boring. So what I ended up doing, I'm just going to put concealer on now. I hope that's enough. That combo is actually really nice. I love that base with those two foundations. I think I'm going to be upset when the L'Oreal one runs out and I can't do this combo. So I'm just going for my Project Pan little concealer here, and just on the same sponge. I'm going to do a, oh, that wasn't a whole pump, but close. So I ended up actually quitting my job, and it wasn't for YouTube. It was just because I was like kind of sick of it and I wanted a break. I think also because having YouTube as a hobby, and I was filming on the weekends and editing on the weekends, especially with beauty news. We did beauty news for nearly a whole year before I quit my job, and the weeks that we put up beauty news, because it was every 2 weeks we put up an episode, we would film on like the Sunday, and then I'd spend 2 evenings during the week editing until like midnight or 1 a.m. to get it done. So yeah, I was really tired and I was getting really burnt out because I didn't have much sleep. I was getting about like 5 hours sleep at night. So, and I was filming on weekends. So I just found it really, really tiring. So I ended up quitting my job in September of 2016. And what happened was I was just planning on taking a break until the end of the year and then apply for new jobs in the new year. Just, you know, normal jobs, apply for other sort of law firm jobs, or look for government jobs, whatever. I was even thinking of maybe applying for at a uni and doing like tutoring or something. So, you know, I had other things that I wanted to do. But what happened was, in a weird kind of twist of fate, which worked out really well, was my boss ended up going on maternity leave, and she asked if I could cover her a few days a week while she was on maternity leave, just to kind of pick up the slack. And I said sure. So I only really had a month off before I kind of came back and started working about 3 days a week. I'm also going to apply some of this guy, RCMA no color powder. I actually don't love this. Makes my under eye area really, really kind of crepey and dry, but that's what I've currently got open. So yeah, I ended up working the end of that year, just working about 3 or 4 days a week to cover her on maternity leave. So yeah, it kind of worked out well because I was still sort of making money while I wasn't really doing too much, when I was kind of having a rest. But what happened was that then in 2017, they asked me to come back sort of like on a part-time basis to job share. So yeah, now what I sort of do is I go in the office once or twice a week, depending on how much work there is, or urgent work there is, and I just type up commercial leases. So that's sort of what I do. I work on leases, it is what it is. So I do have a job outside of YouTube. And a few people, oh, there was a good question. Hang on, I'm gonna find it. Where was it? And this actually makes me think of Kimberly's question, which was, what are your long-term goals for yourself? She's been following my channel and Beauty News since Beauty News was a baby, so that's sweet. And she said, as someone myself who has many interests and hobbies as well as career goals, I wonder what your priorities are. For instance, would you rather be a hotshot lawyer over a YouTube celebrity with millions of followers, or would your number one dream be more like hosting Beauty News on a real network, or even becoming a consultant for like a major makeup company? And I think that's sort of like an interesting point because you know, I think when you go from one career and you're kind of sort of delving into another one, it's sort of hard to figure out where you're at or what you want or what your goals are. And to be fair, I never wanted to be a hotshot lawyer. It seems so stressful. You have like very little work-life balance. I've got some friends that are hotshot lawyers and they, you know, get into work at like 7:30, leave work at like 9 p.m, work on the weekends. They're just like really burnt out, and I've never wanted to be that. I've also never really had the goal of being like a full-time YouTuber, and I don't want to be a host of a TV show. I would actually reckon a consultant for a beauty company would be really great, like working behind the scenes and like helping produce products would be really cool. I don't know how YouTube would get you into that. I don't think that's a real path. But for me, I think what I like about what I'm currently doing is that I see that I've got two part-time jobs. I'm a part-time lawyer, and it's not a very stressful job because I literally just do all the legwork and I'm fine with that. It gets me out of the house, I get to see my co-workers, it pays the bills, it's great. And then for YouTube, it's more like when people say that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, it's sort of like that as well. I love filming with Hayley. We love catching up. We film 2 days a week. Editing can be a bit of a chore, but I enjoy doing it. I love the response. I love researching it. I just find YouTube really fun, and I still see that as being my hobby, but we're in a fortunate position that it's big enough to also sort of be a part-time job. Doesn't make anywhere near as much money as I need it to be like a full-time job, so it'll never be quite full-time. And I do put more hours into YouTube than I do in the office, but I enjoy doing it, so I don't mind. While I talk more, I'm just using my Project Pan bronzer that I actually just sort of repressed, and I repressed it probably too loosely, but at least I'll use it up. But I'm just warming up my dead looking face. So yeah, YouTube for me, it's a great way to be a bit more sort of self-sufficient and work from home and work on my terms. And I also find that when I work for myself, I tend to not only enjoy the work more, but work harder because, you know, whenever I am working, I'm seeing the benefit. So I really like doing that, but I also really just like having a varied job. Even if, like, there's been weeks where for whatever reason, like we're closed for holidays or something, I haven't gone to work, and I find those weeks suffocating. Like, I find YouTube starts feeling like it's kind of like too many comments and I'm at home too much and everything, the world's kind of closing in. So I love the balance, and I'd never want to do YouTube just on its own. I'd always want to do something else than just working full-time on YouTube, because whatever I kind of do, I get bored of doing it full-time. But also you are working at home and it can get very kind of claustrophobic, I guess. So I'm kind of loving the balance at the moment. I don't know how long it's going to last. But I'm sure something will change, and it will change the dynamics of how I'm working. But right now, working 1 or 2 days in the office, filming for 2 days for Beauty News, you know, a couple hours for my stuff, editing generally 2 days. I do work sometimes 6 to 7 days, but I enjoy the work. And when you kind of work from home, it doesn't feel as time consuming because you're doing it at home, so it's a lot more relaxed. Okay, I'm going to put some blush and highlighter on. These are, once again, Project Pan products. I don't even know if I said it, but I'm sort of doing my makeup that I like to do these days, which is sort of like a really sort of nude eye, and I kind of might distract people with the lips, but I like sort of like nude eye. Anyway, whatever. So I've just put some of that on a stippling brush. This is a Real Techniques one. I use quite a bit actually. I find that you can apply quite a bit of this blush without it looking too like OTT. So I do go in quite hard. So I like that peachy blush for the warmer weather. And then straight on I go into this, this is Colourpop Might Be, and I do load up the brush a lot. I find this is sort of not sealed over, but it can be harder to pick up product, so I do kind of go in a bit hard, and I just kind of stipple that on top just to add a bit of glow to the blush. So it's like a blush topper slash highlighter, because the color on its own is a little bit dark just as like a highlighter, so I sort of work it together. So that's sort of the base that I do. So I kind of go peachy, sort of a little bit glow, but not too much, but the rest of my face is quite set. So I understand that a lot of people are wondering how you do YouTube full time, and a lot of people are wondering where it's going to go in more of a business sense. And to be honest, I have no clue. I don't consider myself as a full-time YouTuber because I can't live off the earnings I make off YouTube. It is probably, I probably need to triple it at least, maybe quadruple it to actually pay bills. So for me, it's sort of like a full-time hobby that I classify as a part-time job. Like I spend a lot of hours doing it. I easily spend 40 hours a week checking comments, researching, uploading, editing, filming, all that kind of stuff. So much time, but to me it's still like a part-time job. So I can't talk for people that do YouTube full-time, because it ain't me. And I also don't know where things are going to go with my other job. I'm sure that once my boss's daughter has like grown up a bit more, she probably doesn't need me as much. So yeah, I know things are going to change in the future. I'm just hoping that at least for this year it will stay sort of steady with how things are going, and then if things need to change next year, I will change things, whether I get a new job, pick up more work, or cut down work because YouTube is requiring even more work, like hours from me, which I can't imagine. And I won't do more hours for the money that we get. It's not worth it. But yeah, I really love the balance because I hate being bored in one job. And that's my problem. I never wanted to be a YouTube star where I do it full time. I never wanted to be a corporate lawyer. I just kind of like enjoying life and doing things that mentally stimulate me and that I find fun. And that I can get up every day and be like, okay, today's a bit different from yesterday. And I have cool stuff to do and I'm keen to do it. And that's sort of like what I want to do. I think end goal for me would be if YouTube could pay enough of the bills that if I decided in the next 2 or 3 years to have a child, I can actually be a stay-home mum while doing my YouTube work. That's sort of like end goal kind of stuff. But I don't want to give up being a lawyer. I don't want to give up, you know, I don't want it to be my whole life, because YouTube is very, very fine that it can really be a little bit claustrophobic, sort of feeling like you live your life online and dedicating so much time to being behind your computer. It's a lot of work, and I'm happy to do it, but I also don't want that to be my main or my only purpose of getting out of bed. All right, there's been a few questions about project panning and stuff like that. So Amelia, one of her questions says, where do you see the panning community going in the future? Are we still doing it right? Or are we using more product than needed and waste it just for the sake of finishing a product? That's very interesting. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to look for more panning related questions. But a few people are saying things like wanting to know trends, like Australian makeup trends versus international makeup trends, and just international makeup trends that I've noticed. And I don't really know. I don't pay attention to trends too much. I pay attention to makeup releases, but I don't really look at trends from different countries. It's not really my forte. Renata says, what is your most difficult project pan item you have ever panned? Oh, and I also didn't really address Catherine's question about practical everyday stuff behind doing YouTube as a job. She was asking about schedules and whatnot. We actually do schedule beauty news. My own channel, I sort of just do what I feel like doing, and I try to have 2 videos up a week. With Beauty News, we have our schedule, and so we film twice a week for Beauty News and Beauty News updates, and then we film makeup breakup episodes in sort of like batches, so we will do like 2 or 3 at a time. So yeah, those are definitely sort of planned ahead of time, and the way we upload one a week is we'll just pick something that we haven't done for a while. So if you feel like we've done highlighters or palettes a lot, we'll try to do a how many swatches or something a bit different. We like to keep it a bit different. Or if there's something that's more topical, like a new product that's just been released and we want to destroy it, even though we might have like 3 videos ready to upload, we'll put the one that's sort of more topical for that particular time. But yeah, Beauty News is definitely, we have schedules, we have days we need to film, we need to have, you know, things edited by certain times, and we're very, very diligent with doing that. And I think it's not so much something that you need to do. I think it's just a good practice, because if you want to maintain consistency, you need to prioritize things, and we do prioritize Beauty News over our channel. So for me, I'll put up whatever videos whenever. I'll try to keep like favorites and empties and project pan updates and stuff like that around the same time of the month. But other than that, the day and time and whenever I upload, it's not a big deal. But Beauty News, we really do like to keep it on schedule. All right, I'm zooming in a bit for the eyes, using a paint pot that I'm panning. This one here, I've nearly hit pan. If I hit pan this video, this is going to be amazing. So I just use a brush just to apply this stuff, and I've been trying to target the very bottom of it to hit pan. No, I didn't hit pan, damn it. So speaking of hitting pan, so we're talking about panning stuff. So I applied too much. Let's blend that out. Probably my hardest product to pan, I found panning a blush last year was really, really, really hard. I didn't love the color. I loved it in some seasons, and in other seasons I didn't love it, and it just took a whole year to pan a tiny blush. So it made me not lose respect for blushes, but not want to buy many blushes, because I know how hard they are to use up. I also really struggle with lipsticks, because I'm the type of person that I can wear the same eye look every day for a month, but I need to change up the lips like every day. So I can't pan lip products because I just get so frustrated with them. So yeah, those are probably my hardest ones to do. All right, so I'm using my 1 month 1 palette, and I am surprised at how much I'm loving these mattes. I really love this shimmer color, but I've been loving this one, and that one the most. The cool tone neutral sort of ones. The really warm ones are very red. If I could turn this into a quad and just have this, stop focusing on weird shit, camera, please. Yeah, if I could just have that in a quad, I'd be happy. So I'm going to show you the sort of nude makeup I do using just these 3. All right, so I'm just using that white shade with a fluffy brush just to set my primer. Also, this primer is a little bit dark for me, so I like this because it sort of just lightens it a little bit. So yeah, when it comes to Project Pan, I do think the community can be doing it wrong. I did talk about it, I think, a little bit in my Project Pan update last week, saying that I found that you get to a point where you're like, okay, I can meet the goals that I've given myself, but to do that, I need to almost waste the product. And I think that is a big issue. I think a lot of people are trying to hit pan on products or use up products so quickly, and so many of them, that they tend to overuse the product and actually waste it. And yeah, you use up your product, but at the same time you kind of go, well, you're also wasting it. So I can definitely see that there is both sides to it. I'm just going to go in with this shade now on the same brush. So yeah, I think if you're using something, like targeting something to use it up, and you're using it at the rate that you would normally use it, then project pans are great. I also think that project pans give you a good idea of how quickly you use up a product. So even if you do rush it, like I was saying with the blush, I'm less inclined to buy a new blush now because I know how many blushes I have and I know how long they take to use up, even if you do user heavy hands. So yeah, I think if you use project pans as a guide, I'm just putting this all over the lid, on how easy it is to use up a product, or you know, how long it takes to use up a product, I think it can be a good deterrent, and it can stop you from buying more of that particular product when you know how much you have in your collection. So it can be a good thing, and I always think that using your products or forcing yourself to use your product before you buy another thing is a great thing. Is there a lot of wasting in project pans? Sure, there is. But it's better than it just sitting in a drawer and going completely off. So I think it's a lesser of two evils, but I definitely think there's a community vibe where people are forcing themselves to use so much product that it's actually wasting the product. All right, so I've just gone that nude all over the lid. Then I'm just going in with that darker brown here. It's a matte, and I'm just doing that also in the crease with the same brush. This is the kind of look that I've just been using just on the weekends and sort of non-filming days. It's pretty simple. I'll just kind of put that in the crease and just on the outer corner a little bit. So far, this is like my favorite way to use this palette. The mattes are really, really nice. So I'm just doing that. Then just with a smaller brush, that same dark brown color, which can get on your cheeks, I'm just running that under my eye. You can see how these look really red, and this is the coolest tone brown in the palette. So I find this palette a little bit too red. And just with a sort of clean brush, I'm just blending that a little bit. I also like sometimes applying this color, this Wet n Wild nutty color, just all over the lid instead of the matte. But yeah, this is just like going to the shops, not doing much, friends over for dinner, bit of mascara. It's my eye look that I've been doing a lot. So it's super, super nude and super, super basic, but it's actually my go-to. I was expecting to use those sort of metallic colors a lot more and those really warm colors, but the ones I like are the cool tone browns. Okay, I'm using my brow product, and it is down to under there if I push that down, but if I push that down I can't really squeeze it out, so I've pulled that back a bit. But some brow product. Oh, let's get a question while I'm doing my brows. Let's do that. All right, strange question from Olivia. Coffee that tastes like tea or tea that tastes like coffee? Well, I've got my coffee here. I'd probably say tea that tastes like coffee, because I like the taste of coffee, but I like tea and coffee. I drink coffee more in the morning and tea more in the afternoon, so either works. All right, Boris the Panda wants to know what media I consume, like books or movies or music. Okay, so I am a big fan of movies. Some people have asked before if I had a channel that wasn't beauty related, what would another kind of thing I'd like to talk about be? And I'd love to do movie reviews. I don't actually know much about like movie theory, so I feel like I'm not really qualified to do that. Oh, damn you brows. But I love seeing movies, and I love watching most movies. I love watching horror movies, and because my schedule is a bit more flexible thanks to YouTube, I've been able to maintain my goal of taking myself out to see movies midweek. So some Mondays, if we're not filming beauty news, why am I getting brow product on my fucking... So when I first moved out of home, I started going down to the Nova Cinema in Carlton because they have cheap movies on Mondays. And that was sort of like a thing that I started doing and I really loved doing. And then I realized that like I used to have uni always on Mondays, or I used to always work on Mondays. And it was always like a life goal of mine to have a job where I could be quite flexible. And if I wanted to go down and see a movie on a Monday, I can do that. And the good thing about YouTube is I don't work at the office on Mondays. So if we're not filming, or if I've got nothing else that I like urgently need to do, I often just go down to the Nova in Carlton. I get a coffee and I go see whatever movie's showing that I am vaguely interested in. And that's sort of like my little thing that I like to do on Mondays. It's like getting out of my head, getting out of work, getting out of all that kind of stuff, and I just kind of chill and I watch a movie and I love it. So that's sort of, I would love to talk about movies more, And I love talking to people that have seen movies that I've seen, because I love discussing movies. So yeah, that's sort of the media that I consume the most. I don't really read too much. I watch a bit of TV, but I've only got a few series that I like watching every year, and the rest I can kind of give or take. I watch more like internet stuff than I do TV, so browse are fucking annoying. But yeah, going back, I do like some TV shows, but I particularly like seeing movies. I like that it's kind of like a capsule thing. You don't need to keep watching it every week. I kind of just like seeing a movie, having an experience, and then, you know, leaving it. So yeah, I like seeing movies. Oh, one that I really liked recently, I really enjoyed on Netflix, there was The Ritual. I thought that was a great movie, good horror movie. I liked it. And then the movies, I really enjoyed seeing Coco. I really enjoyed seeing 3 Billboards and The Shape of Water. They're probably my favorite ones that I've seen in the last few months. They were all very good. Yeah, but TV shows, and there was a question from Haley, not Haley Beauty News Haley, but Haley Longster. What do you think is going to happen in Westworld 2? 22nd of April, baby. Yeah. I'm so excited for Westworld. That is probably the one show that I'm super duper duper excited for this year. I loved Westworld last year. Oh my god, so amazing. I don't know what's going to happen, but when it comes to TV shows like Westworld and Game of Thrones and stuff like that, I become an avid nerd where I will like watch all the YouTube channels that do like theories about it and breaking things down and Easter eggs and da-da-da. It kind of consumes my life. And then I watch it, and I then watch recaps of what people think about it. I just get really absorbed, and yeah, Westworld I'm fucking looking forward to. Anyway, this is a makeup that I normally do just, you know, sort of every day. If I'm not chatting, it takes me a couple minutes. Probably only takes me 10 minutes. This is what I'll probably be wearing to work tomorrow. This is what I wore to my grandfather's the other day for his birthday. And if I want to spice it up a bit, I will wear a lip color. And if I want to tone it down, I'll wear a nude lip. If I want to spice it up, I'll wear a bright lip. Today, fuck it, I'm going to wear a bright lip. So this is the Rimmel, the Only One lipstick in Pinker Punch. So this is an oldie but a goodie, and oh my god. So yeah, I kind of have been wearing Project Pan products, nude eye, and then if I want to like go bold anywhere, I kind of go the lip. I also do this with dark lips, matte lips. If I want to go super nude, I just put a gloss on, but that's sort of like the eye makeup I've been doing a lot lately. I just think that I'm kind of over the effort of like winged liner and, you know, numerous colors and blending colors and all that kind of stuff. So I've really pared down when I'm not filming or going out. If I'm going out in the town, or if I'm going to an event, or if I'm going to a birthday, or if I'm going to film, I will still do the wing liner and whatnot. But otherwise, this is sort of my go-to makeup look. The lips vary. I change it out all the time. But I think it's kind of nice and sort of fresh. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed my sort of everyday makeup. The lip definitely changes. It's often nude. The other day it was brown. But this is the makeup I've been, like if you see me walking in the street, this is probably what I'm wearing. If you see me at the Nova watching a movie, this is the makeup I'm probably wearing right now. So it's sort of how I use all my Project Pan products. I think I used everything. Except for the blush. So the blush I sometimes swap out for the sleek one. But otherwise, this is how I wear the products. And this is how I mainly have been really loving that 1 month, 1 palette. So that was the Zoeva Caramel Melange, if you didn't know. So anyway, so that's it. Sorry if I didn't answer your question. I know I had a few questions and I only expected about 3 of them. So yeah, I had more than I was expecting. So anyway, hopefully that was interesting, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.